Right, so for the next part, you're going to need your background, whatever color you've chosen. Choose a color that complements your pattern. Don't go for like orange or blue or something like that, but pick something that will complement. I'm opting for the white. I think it's going to be the least obvious. You'll need some foam squares because this is my plan. My plan is to puzzle back my pattern paper that I have cut apart. So we're going to start by putting the corners back where they belong. It's like that and like that, and there and there. So I know that's more or less where that's going to go. And then your pattern paper, the little wreath that you cut out, it's going to go like something like that, and we'll put it back together nice and neatly once we're done, right? And then this little part is going to, obviously, it goes back inside like that. Okay, but I want to raise these ones, so you will need to get your foam squares out, and you're going to make sure that you put on enough that none of the flowers fall flat. So I have these square ones, and I have a roll of foam squares on the side as well, in case this is not enough. You could use the foam squares if you the roll if you prefer. Okay, and then I will go in with smaller ones on the leaves. So let me show you quickly, because I'm going to speed it up to do the rest. So I'd use the little small. I won't necessarily pull these backings off, but they are there just to make sure that the leaves stay up. And then anywhere where I think it's going to need a little bit of extra support. Okay, so I'm quickly going to do that with the rest of the wreath. I'm going to put some music on, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, so I have got my foam squares on everywhere I want them to be. The next step is going to be to attach my corners in place. So you'll need a little bit of glue for that. And my suggestion is that you try and get your glue reasonably close to the edge of what needs to be cut. Okay, and I've realized I left out a step. I will tell you now what I've forgot to say right at the beginning. Okay, you just attach this, and then I'll tell you quickly. So you want to make sure that this is attached nice and flat, that nothing is lifting up, and that everything is flush with your background. See, like there's an overhang that shouldn't be like that. Oops. So we need to fix that like that. That's better. Right. That's a little bit better. Okay, so the one thing I forgot to mention is that before you cut this pattern out, you need to cut a 1/2 centimeter off the top and a 1/2 centimeter off the bottom. Because the branding strip is on this side, and I've positioned this the way I have, you need to take off the half at the top and at the bottom. That'll give you, then it'll fit to your 30 by 30. I will make a note right in the front as well. In my notes, I'll put that there. Alright, so you want to make sure that that's nice and flush like that. So we're going to do the next one, which is this corner. Is it? Let me double check. No, this one goes up in the top right. Belongs here. Joins up there quite, you can see that it joins nicely. So we're going to attach that one. I'm going to pull the backing off the double-sided tape that I've used for a join, and I'll just put a little bit of glue there so that it will stick. So glue nice around the edges. You want to get as close to your edge as possible. Again, it would be a good idea to work with a glue that dries clear. Okay. I'm going to turn this to make sure that I get it nice and straight and that there's no overhang. Pop that on over there. That lines up nicely there. Get that all stuck down. Turn it over to check. If there is a little bit of overhang, you could always cut it off, but you want to try not to get any overhang. I'm just going to use the back of my glue just to help me get everything where it should be. There we go. Next corner is this one. Like that. I'm going to attach this one here. So even this tiny little piece, I'm going to try and make sure that I get it onto my page. I'm not going to cut it off. If I haven't got any glue there, you can just add some. Like that. There we go. Make sure that it's lined up nicely against the edge. I'll use the back of my glue to help me get everything where it needs to be. Double check that there's no overhang. Luckily this glue gives me some time to put things exactly where they're supposed to be. You have a bit of time to maneuver and move things around. Right, and then the last one is the top corner. Making sure I get it glue all the way around the little edges. And again, this little piece of double-sided tape, I'm just going to take off the backing. So you don't want anything to lift, and glue obviously won't stick to the backing. Put some glue on that. Last piece going in place now, like that. Right, there we go. That's looking quite nice. So now I want to show you, we've put the foam squares on. This is just going to go and lay in the little crevices, and we can maneuver and manipulate it exactly how it's meant to be. And then this one is the one that's going to go over here. And you see what I mean? You won't even see that we just cut it over there, because we'll hide that little join with a butterfly. So that's going to go over there like that. So there you go. So that's sort of where my plan is, where we're going with this. Then this one is going to go back inside here, and we will have to attach this little piece first before we start to pull off the backings of the foam squares. So just lift everything up, maneuver this more or less where it's supposed to go. So if I hold this in place, I know that this has got to shift up like that. And this one is then going to lay like that. Okay. You can see how nicely that's going to work. So before I do anything, before we pull off the backings of this, I'm going to attach the centerpiece. I'm going to stick that back in place. Just line it up properly. It's going to come down a bit. It's going to come down a bit. Okay, so let's get that stuck in place. So again, you want to get glue reasonably close to the edges. You don't want anything like these little bits, sticky bits, pointy bits peeling up. Like that. So if you can hear all that noise, that banging, we have quite a bit of a windstorm coming through, and that stuff banging on the roof. The weather's been a bit weird here, but anyway. Right, so I'm going to just put this piece in place just to start me off for my as a guide where this needs to go. And I'm going to then just hold that in place and slide that in where I think it needs to be. I'm not going to put any pressure and force anything into place just yet, because we need to be able to line it up with this side as well. So we're just going to gently place this more or less where it's supposed to go. You can see that's more or less where we want that. So it's just a bit of fiddling and fidgeting to make sure we get this background piece in the right place. You know, that's going to go there. That looks right. My suggestion is that you move it. So turn your page around so that you can see from all angles. Okay, so I know that that's got to go, move up a little bit more, because that's got to go there. So I'm holding it in place here and shifting this little piece, the center piece, to be sure that I have it in the right place, that there's not too much white sticking out. That looks pretty close. There we go. So I'm going to take this off. I think where we have it is right. I'm just going to push everything down gently in case I have to move some more. I'm not rubbing too hard. I just want most of it down. So I can double check with this. I know this is going in over here. And that one's going to go there. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. It looks close enough to me. Okay. So we can just secure this, burnish this in place so that it's not going to shift. My suggestion is that you hold down in the middle and burnish the bits and pieces in place, because you don't want this piece to shift now. you want it to be in place, right? So because I know that probably here and there's going to be a little bit of white sticking out, my suggestion is to go in and add some more hickory smoke. So I'm going to just wipe off where I can see that the glue's come through. Just dab that off a bit. And then I'm going to go in with hickory smoke and just go around the edges and add a little bit of the grey here and there. So I'm going to squish it in, blend it in. It doesn't need to be like perfect. You just want a light layer of the hickory smoke to go in. You want to try not to get, you just want to try and soften the white a little bit. Like that. And around here as well, because you just don't know. And put enough glue, but I'll fix that now. And there we go. And then just one last ink around the edges. It doesn't have to be everywhere, just here and there where you think you need it to be a little bit darker. There we go. Maybe a little bit down the bottom here. I'm happy with that. Right. Quite happy with that. So the next part of the process is to get the flowers on. So I plan to use a photo that measures 10 by 15. Let me just get it quickly. A portrait, 10 by 15. So you will need to crop a photo to 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters. You're out of a piece of dark cardstock, you're going to cut a piece to measure 11 by 16. And out of the white or your lighter cardstock, 10.5 centimeters by 15.5. And then you can attach this together. We'll quickly do that now so it doesn't move all over the place. Let's see. There we go. That's going to go in like that. Right, so my plan is to have this photograph go in over here and then have some of the flowers from this wreath overlap it. So we have this going in like that. I'm just going to do it very roughly. When I attach, I'll make sure everything's exactly where it's supposed to be. But I would like the photo to go in like that. All right, so that it's looks like it's part, you know, the wreath is framing it. We'll sort that out. Okay, and then my title, I would like to have over here. It goes about up there. Special moments that tell. So we're going to pop the hour in here. You can still look up a little bit more. Yeah. Special moments that tell our story. I think that's going to look really good. Like that. Right, I think that's going to look quite nice. I think that this then needs to come down just a little bit more, right? Then I have a tag that I want to pop in underneath here. I'm going to have it lay over the flower like that. Then remember I said we needed these 3 tabs. So I want to have this one, I can take this one in just a little bit more, and I want to have this one sticking out over here. And then we're going to make a little tab. So what you need to do is I'm going to just show you on here. What I did is I took that piece of green cardstock and I cut it to 5 centimeters. You need to do 2 like that. And then I have a tiny little circle punch that I turn upside down, and it has like a crisscross in the middle, and then just lay the corner in that crisscross, and you're able to make a nice little tab like that. Okay, so you need to do 2 of those. I did 2. Okay, and then this one I just cut in half. Okay, so I did 2 and then I just cut a little piece off. You'll see why now. Okay, then this little piece is also going to run on top. I'm probably more than likely going to trim this one as well. I'm just going to put it where I think it should go for now, like that. It's to kind of lay in that little groove there, like that and like that. And bring the photograph out just slightly. There we go. Right, so that looks quite nice, I think. Right, so the special moments we can move up a little bit if need be. There. Like that. Right, and then I thought that it would look good to repeat that. We can put a little piece down the bottom here like this. And just to repeat what we're doing at the top there, maybe the other way around. Yeah. Okay, like that. And then I took one of these labels and cut a little piece. I think it's 1.5 centimeters. If I find my ruler. Yes, I cut it 1.5 centimeter off the top of this label like this. I've inked around the edges with the Victorian velvet, and I think it'll look good to go there. And I want to repeat a little bit of the green. So I also cut a little piece, it's 2 centimeters, and cut a little banner in. There was a piece of that left. And I thought that it would probably look good over here. So there's just a little bit of repetition like that. We might trim that a little bit more. And then I have the 3 little sentiments. This one says beautiful moments. And I thought might look good running across there. We could, maybe the beautiful moments could go, no, I think here's right. We'll shuffle them around and see. And then I have the word remember that I want to put in this label. So it reads, remember special moments that tell our story. And then just to repeat beautiful moments, and then love you, like that. Then the little butterflies that we used, that we colored, I thought that they would be good to hide the little, where we've put the little joins. Like that, and there isn't one here, but we'll put one here anyway. And I don't want them to stand out too much. They do form part of the wreath kind of thing. So when you've put them, when you put them down, I've put them down on the greener parts and not on the pink. And then the little hearts, I thought to put 2 little hearts here with a bling, and 2 little hearts at the top. Also with a bling, maybe 2 blings over here, yeah, like that. And then the hearts are also inked around the edges with Victorian velvet to make them a little bit darker. And I thought to repeat that, we could probably put maybe on top, like that. This one is didn't cut out too well. It's a half a heart But by the time I'm done, you might not see it. Let's see, we'll do it this way. Put this one underneath and this one down here like that. There we go. So I think that's going to look quite nice like that. There's the 3 little hearts. So instead of working here, this is the only part of my page that creates the visual triangle. The rest of my embellishments are running in a bit of a diagonal, which I think really adds a little interesting effect to the layout. Then I want to repeat the bling by adding a little bit of bling inside like that. And there we go. That is basically how everything's going to look when we're done. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some glue on everything, and I'm going to start to put everything in place. So I'll put on a little bit of music, and you can watch the process, and I will see you in a bit.